Hey everyone, Armored Otter here, and today I'm going to be breaking down Grim Misadventures number 122, which is another Grim Misadventures where they talk about the upcoming devotions that are coming in the expansion pack. So the first thing they talk about is that all of our devotion capstones that we currently have are going to be able to level up 5 times more than they currently are, which is not something I really thought about until now, but it makes a whole lot of sense. The exciting aspect of that is that it's going to really change up the balance of things. Certain devotions are going to scale stronger than other ones, and certain devotions are going to fall off in those later levels. So we're going to have to see how those 5 extra levels really affect the meta. Now, the real meat of this Grim Misadventures comes from the 4 brand new constellations they debuted. And that's really what I want to get into today, is where each of these constellations fits into theoretical builds, their relative power level, and also their visuals, because that's one thing that stuck out to me, is how really beautiful a few of these devotions looked. So let's get into it. Now, the first constellation, and probably my favorite, is Aladra's Phoenix. The proc on this thing is 100% chance on critical strike to imbue your character with these swirling phoenix feathers that deal fire and aether damage to all enemies in a very close radius around your character, and it also grants you flat damage absorption, which is probably the biggest deal here. If you don't know, flat damage absorption is super strong, and it can make any character really, really tanky. I think the obvious implication of this devotion is obviously Kalidor's Tempest build. I think it might have some place in a Arcanist Pyromancer Albrecht's Etherray build, but this definitely seems like a in-your-face Kalidor's Tempest type of devotion. And with that build, I think it's going to be crazy strong, something that you're going to want to rush. Now, it's a 5-second duration with a roughly 12-second cooldown, so you're not going to have that damage absorption all the time. But if the visuals are any indication, you can really tell on your character when you have this up, and when you see those swirling phoenix feathers, you can play your character much more aggressively. You can say, hey, I've got this damage absorption, I've got this proc around me, I can play much more aggressively, I can push in and start really clearing out some of these baddies. So this is probably going to make or break Kalidor's Tempest in the upcoming expansion, whether or not this is a good devotion, and I'm really hoping that it's powerful. So the next devotion is a Toxart, which is a really cool devotion. What it does is a 15% chance on attack. It summons a rune at your opponent's feet that fires a straight line that does aether and elemental damage in a 14-meter radius. That's pretty huge. It stretches across the screen. When I initially saw this, I was kind of underwhelmed. I was thinking it was more Albrecht Etherray support. It was something for Arcanist Demolitionist, but the more I thought about it, the more interesting it became to me, because it's not fire damage, it's flat elemental damage and aether damage. So if Necromancer does have very strong aether support, Arcanist and Necromancer would be very, very powerful as devotion. If Inquisitor has very strong aether support, or it really brings in the elemental package like it's supposed to, then Arcanist Inquisitor is going to be very, very powerful with this Arcane Current Toxart devotion. It's also really cool looking. It's this very intricate bright purple glyph that fires the wave of energy in a straight line. So when you're casting Albrecht's Etherray and you attach this rune to the very front line, it's going to stretch all the way to the back and attack those enemies in the back and really soften them up for your devastation to clean up. So I think this devotion is going to be super powerful, and I think it's going to be used in a ton of builds, and it's going to really open things up for other kind of Albrecht's Etherray or just other aether damage builds in the future. So the next devotion that we have is Altos Shepard of the Storms. What this does is 100% chance on critical attack, you arc lightning from yourself to up to 8 enemies, doing a ton of electricity damage, electrocution over time, and also shredding elemental resistances. It seems to me this is crazy powerful. Not only do you stun those enemies for half a second, but it also has a 1.2 second recharge. So as long as you're critting, and shaman builds tend to crit a lot, you're going to be sending those lightnings all over the place, shredding resistances, stunning, and dealing a ton of damage. This is going to be the apex of lightning builds. This is going to be super, super strong, even if they nerf the numbers a bit, the utility that it brings with the stun and the elemental resistance shred, this is going to be crazy powerful. Now, as far as visuals and effects goes, this seems a little uninspired to me. It's just, you zap lightning from your character to the enemy's booties. There's a lot of lightning. I wish that it looked cooler. I wish that it was something other than lightning. I don't know. It's just kind of bland to me. But there's no doubt in my mind this is going to be crazy powerful. The last devotion that we're going to talk about today is the Fist of Fire. This one really gives the Phoenix Feathers a run for its money for coolness points. Ooh, it's so fucking cool. It's a 20% chance when you're hit, a giant stone fist erupts from the ground, stunning enemies and giving them a huge dot. This is going to be awesome in board and sword warders, two-handed warders, and really any other sort of melee tank build that likes to be in the thick of things. One thing to note is that it's only got a 1 second recharge rate and it's a 2 second stun. So as long as you're really in the thick of things and taking damage from a lot of different sources, which as a tank you should be, this is going to be proccing all over the place and giving your group, or even as a solo player, a lot of AoE CC and a lot of damage. If this constellation even has additional tank bonuses like maybe retail bonuses, armor, percent health, resistances, I have a feeling this is going to be a very, very strong constellation in general. But the visuals are just worth it by themselves. Even if this was a total poo-poo constellation, I would absolutely love to go out of my way to get this Stone Fist. Because it's just, it's so cool. It's really cool. Alright, so that about does it for Grim Misadventures 122. Really cool stuff. Let me know what builds you're excited to try out with these new devotions. What are these going to open up for you? And especially if I missed anything, if you think there's an important aspect of a constellation that I may have glossed over, or if there's some build that I didn't mention that's going to get really buffed by these constellations, let me know. And I look forward to seeing you guys next time.